que había una que estaba como recortada, como la que tiene Claudia. Vos estás con teléfono, Claudia, ¿no?
Yo estoy con el iPad.
Claro, claro, porque se ve como
¿Ah,
más
sí?
angosta la imagen.
¿Ah, sí?
Claro.
Bueno, muy bien.
Ah, y Vane también.
Vane también.
Hoy estoy con el celu, sí. ¿Pero estoy una vez sola o no? Sí.
Sí, una vez sola, sí.
No, sí, una vez sola, sí.
Bueno, entonces, ¿dónde estábamos? In Nathaniel Barrington, and I was telling you about the circle that this family closed, because there is something that, this family, the family of Johanna Burden, now has finished the circle, going back to Nathaniel Barrington, and that's the end of this, let's say, problematic family. It starts
the burden.
But Nathaniel may be her brother.
No, it is her nephew.
Nephew.
The nephew, because the brother was Burden. Now this one goes back to the original surname. The original surname was Barrington. So now the family has started in Barrington, then changed to Burden, and now goes back to Barrington. And Nathaniel was the first name. The origin of the family. No?
Is this her brother's son? No. Or we don't know.
No, the brother. Whose son it is? Yes, her brother's son. Her brother's son.
Her brother's son.
Yes, her brother's son. Yes. Okay, so after this, bueno, I was telling Vanessa what happens when Joe leaves the house. He goes to the cabin. He hits Lucas Birch, who was drunk. You remember? He hits him furiously, and he leaves. We don't know what happens afterwards. Appeared.
Are you recording, Ines, for Malena?
Yes, I am recording, but I cannot see Alicia. Alicia has left, no?
Yes.
I think so.
Ines,
Yes.
I can't turn off the cell phone.
Don't
I'm
worry.
going now. Yes, I don't like this.
She left completely. So now we haven't Alicia. Probably Alicia's internet disappeared. A ver.
Maybe. It was all of a sudden that she left, I think.
Yes, probably her connection.
It's not that because she was not talking or anything.
Okay. Well, so probably they come back.
Yeah.
So I was saying this. He goes to the cabin, he hits Lucas Birch, he leaves. And the following day, Lucas Birch is at the barber's, and he sees Joe outside. Joe looks at him through the window, and with a threatening look, and he disappears. He goes. So the problem is that we don't know what happened in the middle. Alicia is back. Here she is.
You're muted, Ali.
Muted.
You have to turn on your mic, Ali. You are muted. No.
Yes.
Ahora.
Okay, sorry. No, my computer dead, and I have to switch on again.
Okay. Yes, we imagine. So the period of time that we don't know between the moment Joe leaves the house and the cabin, not the house, the cabin, and the following night when he and Lucas look at each other at the barber's shop.
How many hours went by?
Probably one day.
One day.
or the following morning. We don't know if that episode takes place at night or in the morning, but there are some hours that we don't know about anything. And so Lucas was at the cabin, drunk, hit by Joe. Joe leaves the cabin, and this is when this article I sent you says that probably Lucas, completely drunk, went back to the house to take revenge on Joe and killed Joanna and then set the house on fire. Could be. We don't know.
What I don't understand is when Joe saw Lucas at the barber's.
After that, yes,
After that.
claro, because when Lucas disappears, when the man at the wagon meets him in the house, and Lucas tells the man, "Don't go upstairs," etc., he runs away. Okay, he's
Had he already been at the barber's?
no, that later.
No.
Later on. After that, he goes to the barber's, and look
to
Joe,
change his appearance, perhaps, or not?
well, we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. But after that, he will tell the sheriff that when he knows that there is a reward, he comes back and tells the sheriff, "I know who did it. I know who did it," because he wants the reward. He wants the money. Probably he's at the barber's getting ready to escape the town. Probably. No? But he changes his mind and he presents himself to the sheriff when the sheriff says that there is a reward. And when does the sheriff say that? When the nephew, Nathaniel Barrington, is informed about the death of Joanna, and so he says that he has a reward for the one who discovers the murderer. And at that moment, when the news spread, Lucas appears again.
Ah, yes.
Probably he was escaping, and when he learns about the reward, he says, "I come back. I want the money." Okay.
And where has Joe been all those hours? Because he took a car.
Yes.
With this girl who was trembling.
When he takes he stops at the point in the road, and we leave him there in the road.
We don't know what time it is.
No.
And from that moment, he got out of the car and he saw Lucas at the barber's. We don't know how much time went by or what he did.
And then we meet Joe again here in this chapter 13. But the only thing we know is that he's walking and walking and walking, and
This is for Sherlock.
So it is very confusing, and of course it allows two different explanations. No, we don't know what happens, because at the same time we can imagine Lucas Birch drunk at the cabin. Joe comes and hits him, leaves. Lucas goes on there sleeping, and the following morning he wakes up, and that's all.
And goes to the barber.
Claro, we don't know.
Well, but first he was in the house.
First he goes to the house. But remember that the man in the wagon says that this man who tells him not to go upstairs is drunk or very much confused. So probably this was immediately after he is in the cabin and being hit by Joe, because he's apparently drunk or confused or nervous. That is not clear.
And isn't there any mention of blood in Joe's body if he beheaded Joanna?
No
mention of blood.
No.
Joe Brown, Lucas Birch.
No, we don't know. No, that is not mentioned at all. So you see, but he could have gone back to the cabin and washed himself.
Yes.
So
Yeah, he had plenty of time.
he had plenty of time. Yes. Okay, so um, the here the question of the reward is here in after this information of Nathaniel Barrington in italics. In the following paragraph, the sheriff says, "I reckon you better do what the paper says." After Nathaniel Barrington,
Sorry,
I reckon you better do what the
what's the beginning of the paragraph?
it's a dialogue.
I reckon you better do that.
What the paper says, claro.
Okay.
And
Okay.
4 lines later, it says, Miss Burton's nephew in New Hampshire offered $1,000 reward for the capture of her murderer. See? And this is what makes Lucas come back.
$1,000 was a lot of money at that
A
time.
lot of money. Yes. Because this family was a rich family in the north. No?
Yes.
So, and after that, it says some lines later, they did not know then that he was the man, because after that it says, at 9 o'clock that evening, the man whom the countryman had found in the burning house when he broke in the front door appeared. They did not know then that he was the man. He did not tell them so. All they knew was that a man who had resided for a short time in the town and whom they knew as a bootlegger named Brown, porque Lucas Birch was Brown, and not much of a bootlegger at that, appeared on the square in a state of excitement, seeking the sheriff. So, Lucas Birch, or Lucas Brown, appears in the town, yes, on the square, shouting, I want to see the sheriff, I want to see the sheriff. Because he says he knows who the murderer is, no? And look at the dialogue. You want to turn state's evidence, the sheriff asked him. ¿No? Quiere dar evidencia. Y miren el otro lo como contesta. I don't want to turn nothing. I know who done it, and when I get my reward, I'll tell. So this Lucas Birch is so primitive, you know. No, yo no vengo a dar nada. Yo quiero decirle quién fue cuando me den la plata. Bueno, and the sheriff says, you catch the fellow that done it, you'll get the reward. So it isn't so easy. Yes, first you have to catch the fellow. So at this point, Lucas Birch is in jail. The sheriff sends him to jail because he's the only.
He's a suspect.
He's the suspect.
Only who has been seen around, and he told the man not to go upstairs.
Claro, he's the suspect, and so he ends up in jail. No, he's furious, and. What does the sheriff ask for? He calls another town for the dogs.
For the dogs, follow the trail.
Yes, the dogs that will follow the trace of the murderer. No, and in the paragraph that says it was just sunrise, found it.
Yes.
Just
Yes.
sunrise.
Yes.
So we are now on the following day, Vanessa. So this is another day, okay? It was just sunrise, and in the middle of the paragraph, it says they ran side by side for 100 yards, where they stopped and began to dig furiously into the earth and exposed a pit where someone had buried recently emptied food tins. The dogs get to the point near the river where Joe had been eating before. You remember he opened some tins and he ate, and he buried the tins. And this is what they found. The tins, so Joe had been there, okay? So for your chronology, Vanessa, the previous night, after looking at Lucas Birch at the barber's. Joe went to the left the city, left the town. And in the morning he goes to the river, he washes himself, he eats, etc., etc. And this is when the dogs find the tins. Okay. Well, all that day they look for Joe and they cannot find anything. And in the next paragraph, you have that night a youth, a country boy, and his father came in to see the sheriff. And this is the boy that was driving the car. And he tells the sheriff that the previous night a man stopped him. He had a pistol, etc., etc. So now they know that Joe was going in certain direction where the boy left him. Okay.
Yeah, where we thought that he was escaping, but perhaps he doesn't even know that the police are after him.
I think they know. He knows because of what he thinks later. Now we are going to see what he thinks. At the end of this same paragraph, no, you catch him and we'll see, the sheriff said in the next paragraph.
Because this boy wanted the reward too.
Also.
This boy and...
The boy and the father. Everybody.
Father, yes.
Everybody wants the reward.
Claro, everybody wants the reward. Well, you catch him and we'll see, the sheriff said, and at the end of this paragraph it says their apparent infallibility for metal in any form found the old pistol with its 2 loaded chambers almost at once. So now when they go to the place where the car stopped, they find the pistol. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So they are following Joe's trace. Okay? And they say it's one of them.
But it says,
yes,
with its 2 loaded chambers. So now the pistol had the bullets.
Well, a ver, when the woman fired the pistol, she missed. We know that she missed because Joe is alive. But we don't know if it is because she missed the shot or because the bullet didn't go out.
Ah, okay.
Could be, because this is a very old weapon, no? It's one of them old Civil War cap and ball pistols.
And he had 2 balls. He said one for her and the other for me.
Exactly.
Yes.
And y el sheriff dice, it's one of them old Civil War cap and ball pistols, the deputy said, the deputy, not the sheriff. One of the caps has been snapped, but it never went off. Ahí está. ¿Sí?
No salió el tiro.
No salió el tiro, por eso no lo mató.
Disparó, pero no salió la bala, sí.
Claro, disparó, exacto. Disparó,
Claro,
pero...
she pulled the trigger.
She pulled the trigger. Por eso teníamos el ruido que había hecho, ¿se acuerdan? El flickered.
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Bueno, so they turn the dogs loose. The dogs go on looking for Joe. And we go to the next day. The temperature began to rise Monday. On Tuesday, after the space, there is a space. On Tuesday, the night, the darkness after the hot day is close, still oppressive. As soon as Byron enters the house, he feels the corners of his nostrils whiten and tauten with the thick smell of stale man-kept house. Now, this is, as we said the other day, cinematographic technique. We go from the place where the pistol was found and etc., etc. We go to a different scene. Byron entering Hightower's house. And a characteristic of Hightower is always the smell.
Yes.
Huele a viejo. Huele a viejo. Sí. Lo dice todo el tiempo, ¿vieron? ¿Cómo?
A rancio.
Claro, huele a rancio, huele a viejo. Bueno, y acá dice the stale man kept house, stale, con ese olor rancio, con ese olor encerrado.
The smell of plump and washed flesh and unfresh clothing, claro. A sucio.
A sucio, ¿viste? Bueno, hay un olor a sucio. or no? Sí.
Sí, claro.
He says, this is horrible. That odor of
Yes.
unfamiliar sedimentation, static over flesh, not often enough bathes. So
No.
over flesh, because he had put on weight too.
Yes. Another thing that is
Yes, and he was sitting all the time.
It's eating sedimentation, it says, right.
claro.
But then at the end of that paragraph, it says, it is the odor of goodness. Byron is so positive.
Claro, because
He calls it
no, of course,
the odor of goodness because he's a man of faith, I imagine.
claro, of course it would smell bad to us that are bad and sinful. For Byron,
Right.
Byron thinks that perhaps the smell that Hightower has is because he's so good, no? The others are sinful, the others are not good. This
I think Byron is too good.
yes. That is why when I sent you that another passage I found in another critic, it says that Byron is the intermediary, no, the mediator between all the other characters, no. He's in the middle,
Yes.
and he's the connection with Hightower, with Lena, and with Joe, no. He's there in the middle. But this question of the smell with Hightower is a very, very, let's say, important, because it is always mentioned, the idea that he has this smell and that he has a belly, ¿no? Como una panza que le cuelga, ¿sí? This is repeated and repeated, and that his house is always kind of close and stale. In a way, this critic I sent you says that this is the characteristic of somebody who has stopped his life at
Yes.
the point.
Of rotting. He's rotting.
Exactly.
He's rotten, like a dead body.
Like a dead body, because he stopped his life in the past,
Yes.
and he never moved forward. He's there, no, like a dead person in life. And so the smell is characteristic of this death that is
Fashion, or yes.
Claro. And that is, very, very important as a point of characterization for Hightower. What we know about Hightower shows that he has finished his life when he was alive. And the only thing he does is to look through the window to what happens outside, and he also listens to the music from the church, but outside. Nothing in his life. He doesn't take part in anything. He's completely.
Yes, he says it on the following page. He says, I am not in life anymore.
I am not.
He doesn't want, he says the phrase because he doesn't want to he doesn't want to get involved with people or life.
Exactly.
He's outside life.
He's outside life. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yes.
So in the next paragraph.
Las pensó todas Faulkner para caracterizarlas.
Faulkner is a
He's
genius.
great.
He's a genius, yes.
He's great.
And in the next paragraph, it says, Hightower watches his lowered face. No? Are you there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because Byron has come to tell Hightower about Lena, and that he's planning to take Lena to the cabin, what Alicia said before, no? Byron wants to take Lena to the cabin to protect her, because if she stays in town, she will listen to all the story about, perhaps she will meet Lucas. So he wants her to be protected, no? And so he takes her to the cabin. But before doing that, he tells Hightower about his plans. He always goes to Hightower for advice, let's say. And Hightower says, why must she move when she's comfortable there with a woman at hand if she should need one, no? In town, in the pension. But Byron does not answer. He sits motionless, down looking. His face is stubborn still. Looking at it, Hightower thinks, it is because so much happens. Too much happens. That's it. Man performs, engenders so much more than he can or should have to bear. That's how he finds that he can bear anything. That's it. That's what is so terrible, that he can bear anything, anything. So this is very, very, in a very reduced way, Hightower's philosophy. He says that the problem is that things happen. So much happens. He doesn't want life to move on. He wants life to be static. And he says, this is, man performs, ¿sí? El hombre actúa, genera, y después tiene que aguantarse lo que genera. Should have to bear that. So
Yes.
his position is the opposite. I stay here, I don't move, I don't do anything, and so nothing happens.
Nothing happened and I don't have problems.
I don't have problems and I don't have to bear anything, ¿no? But
Don't rock my boat.
claro, and he looks at Byron and he says, Byron takes responsibility, he takes action. And so then he will have to bear the problem, ¿no? Bueno, this is Hightower.
And Byron is in love too, no?
Obviously,
Yes.
obviously. And
And he want to protect her and to isolate her
yes, because he's in love.
without the contact with the others,
Yes.
no?
But what does Hightower tell Byron? Hightower tells Byron to leave, to go away, to leave the place, not to stay there. He wants Byron to go to another town. Yes,
Yes.
not to suffer, not to suffer. Okay.
Well, because Hightower has already been through this, through performing, engendering, and then bearing
Claro, bueno, but
all the society's condemnation.
yes, but that is life, Vanessa. If you don't do anything, of course, nothing happens, but you are not alive, you are dead.
Mhm.
So his solution is very impractical.
That was his solution to his problem.
Claro, not to do anything, to stay quiet without doing anything.
Yeah.
That is why he doesn't clean himself and he doesn't clean the house. And there is that smell. Then they have this conversation. Hightower cannot convince him, yes, because Byron is already convinced. He wants to take the girl to the cabin.
Apart from that, she wants to go there because she knows that he lives there, and Byron has told her that he's away on business.
Yes,
At the moment.
yes.
So she says, well, if he's away on business, the right place for me to wait for him is where he's living because he's going to be my husband.
Claro.
So she proposes in a way this her going to live there,
Yes.
and
Her-
he has to accept.
Claro, and for her, that is her husband's house.
Right.
Well, so in the next paragraph, he says, Byron says, she needs a place where it will be a kind home to her, no? A room where it will be quiet when her time comes, no? And Hightower answers, I see. And you want me to take her in here? Because at the beginning, Hightower thinks that Byron is going to ask him to receive the girl there. And of course, that is not the solution, no? Okay, so there is a paragraph later that starts, I think I know that.
And he said, I'm not in life anymore.
Exactly.
That's the one I said.
They're not in
Yes.
life anymore.
I
That's
think I know that.
Gabby says.
Exactly. That's why there is no use in even trying to meddle, interfere. He could hear me no more than that man and that woman, and that child would hear or heed me if I tried to come back to life. If I tried to come back to life. sea, yo no estoy en la vida. Si volviera a la vida, tampoco me escucharían. Okay, so she must, 2 paragraphs later at the end, in the dialogue, he says, she must know whether you told her or not. She must have heard by now. They are talking about Lucas, ¿no? She must know. Ya debe saber a esta altura. So that is another thing that we don't know, that Faulkner doesn't tell us. If Lina knows or doesn't know that Lucas Birch is the one who is asking for the reward. We don't know. Hightower says she must know.
Probably no, because how could she know?
Because up to now she's living in town in the same boarding house where
Yes, that's true.
there are people there. She lives with the woman who is the owner of the boarding house.
Yes.
Y bueno, entonces perhaps the rumors, the gossip, yes. So she doesn't say anything, but this doesn't mean that she doesn't know. There is, I mean, a blank there that we ignore. For Hightower, according to Hightower, she knows. And according to Byron, she doesn't know. But we don't know because Lina doesn't say anything. So the other one who doesn't know that Lina is there, and that we know, is Lucas. Because if you go to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs later, Hightower asks, does Brown know that she is in Jefferson? See? For an instant,
Yes.
Byron almost smiles. His lip lifts, a thin movement, almost a shadow without mirth.
No, sorry. What's the beginning of the paragraph?
It's a dialogue, and it says, does Boo Brown know that she is in Jefferson?
Yes.
No, Hightower wants to know. Claro.
Brown know that she's in Jefferson.
Primero le va a decir Birch y después le dice Brown, porque no sabe cuál de los dos apellidos es. Know that she's in Jefferson. Y Byron smiles and he says, he's been too busy after that $1,000. So Lucas doesn't know that Lina is in the town because he's busy with the question of the reward. No, he's interested in the reward. Okay.
And in jail.
Lina knows that Brown is Birch?
We don't know. I suspect that she knows. I assume, I reckon, to use the word, I reckon she knows.
But because...
Well, she knows
because
she
Brown is Birch. For her, Birch is waiting for the reward.
I think at this stage we can say she's sure he's the man because she wants to stay in his house. What she doesn't know is that he's looking for the reward. She was involved in a murder or in a murder scene. Or
claro,
whatever.
but what is the
He's in jail.
He asked Byron about a scar.
Yeah, this is what I was going to say.
Okay. Maybe she knows.
There is something very interesting that I think Byron says about how women can find out what they want and only what they want to hear. But I marked it, but I don't know where it is. And he explains this. She asks up to a point. She doesn't want to learn bad news from him, but she wants just to check that it's him.
Yes.
And doesn't want to hear anything else.
Yes.
So she asks in a way to get the information she wants to get only.
Yes.
And not the rest. But it's a very funny
I remember that.
place.
Yes, because Lina has been talking to Byron, living at the boarding house with this woman who is the owner of the place, listening to people. And Lucas Birch has this scar, which is characteristic of him. So, I mean, I imagine that Lina has already, discovered that the man she's waiting for is the man who is asking for the reward and who is now in jail. That's why she is waiting for him at the cabin, probably. But
maybe. But she was so innocent, so.
See, I don't know. I don't know if she. I mean, she's young, but I don't know if she's so, let's say, innocent.
Naive,
claro.
Naive, more innocent, more.
So
yes.
probably she has an idea. I think that she knows, but Hightower also thinks that she knows. The only one that wants to believe that she is ignorant of everything is Byron, because Byron wants to protect her.
Yes.
And also because in this dialogue that where I said he know in a previous, I'm not asking that, he knows that, in a previous paragraph, Byron says that he imagines that when Lucas gets the money, he will run away.
He will fly away.
And
Yes,
so he imagines that Lina will stay there for him. And that Lina will need a father for the child. No, so Byron has also this, kind of a plan in his mind.
Yeah, this fantasy or this plan. Yes,
Yeah,
maybe.
a fantasy, a plan. Yes, because he's in love. And then, wait a second. Well, then she doesn't know. But this is what I told you before. In 2 paragraphs later, he says, she wants to go out there and wait for him. And this is what Gabriela said. She wants to go out there and wait for him. Found it?
Yes.
No. She wants to go out there and wait for him. Yes.
Mm-hmm. I told her that he is away on business for the sheriff. So I didn't lie altogether. Claro, not completely. She had already asked me where he lived, and I had already told her. And she said that was the place where she belonged until he came back, because that is his house. She said that that's what he would want her to do. And I couldn't tell her different, that cabin is the last place in the world he would want her to ever see. She wanted to go out there as soon as I got home from the mill this evening. She had her bundle all tied up and her bonnet on, waiting for me to get home. I started once to go on by myself, she said, but I wasn't sure I know the way. And I said, yes, only it was too late today and we would go out there tomorrow. And she said, it's an hour still dark yet. It ain't but 2 miles, is it? And I said to let's wait because I would have to ask first. And she said, ask who? Ain't it Lucas' house? And I could feel her watching me. And she said, I thought you said that was where Lucas lived. And she was watching me. And she said, who is the preacher you keep on going to talk to about me? And you are going to let her go out there to live. It might be best. She would be private out there and she would be away from all the talking until this business is over. You mean she has got her mind set on it and you won't stop her? You don't want to stop her. So, Byron wants Lina in the cabin, away from all the information, but Lina wants to go, Gabriela, that is true. But at the same time, Hightower tells Brown, and you want her there, no? And then Hightower wants to know if Byron has prepared things. A doctor, for example, a woman to help her when the baby comes.
He starts getting involved in a way. He doesn't want to get involved, but he worries about the future baby, the coming of the baby and the woman's health.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
He had already helped a woman deliver a baby.
I was going to say that. You remember that we saw in the past that he was called to help a woman who was giving birth and that the baby had been born dead, no?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
So
a black woman.
Yes, a black woman. So now he's worried about the delivery of the baby. Have you asked a doctor? Have you all that? And then
And Lina,
that he said,
¿Cómo?
Yes.
because it's a place very isolated and
Yes, it's not
without people around, and
Well, that's why he wants her there, because he doesn't want
Yes.
her
yes,
learn
yes, of course,
more about
Yes.
about the man. And before that paragraph that you read was this, as I was talking about, that they say about women.
Women,
It
yes,
says before the one you just read that started, she wants to go out there and wait for him.
yes,
It said, it's in the middle of a paragraph. It's like God sees that they find out what they need to know out of men's lying. So when men are lying, we know what to ask, or we know when they're lying, yes,
yes,
without needing to ask.
yes,
And that they don't find out what they don't need to know. Without even knowing, they have not found it out.
yes,
It's very funny.
The tongue twister. Yes.
yes,
So I don't know for sure what she knows and what she doesn't know.
yes, yes,
When he's asking him, what does she
She's
know?
a
And says, I
woman.
don't.
She's a woman. You can't know what she
Yes.
wants, what she knows.
This is, I mean, Byron's view on women is funny, as you said, because, I mean, if you translate this, ¿no? No averiguan lo que no quieren averiguar,
Claro.
sin saber siquiera que no lo han averiguado, ¿no?
Es como un instinto.
Claro.
Claro,
Y después ella quiere saber, who is this preacher you keep on going to talk to about me?
claro. So,
Yes.
Lina, well, this is, I mean, Byron's idea of women, no? Which is, I mean, funny and at the same time very interesting. But then we are going to see Hightower's idea of women, which is very negative.
Yes.
Because for
Negative.
Byron, I mean, Byron is surprised and kind of at a loss in front of a woman because he doesn't know what the woman is thinking. It can be funny, but Hightower's view of women is very negative, and we will see it later, no?
Terrible. Terrible.
Well, after that, there is a paragraph that says in a dialogue, I don't think that you could do anything. Found it?
yes,
Yes.
I don't think you could do anything that would be very evil, Byron, no matter how it looked to folks. No, because Byron is a good person, obviously. But are you going to undertake to say just how far evil extends into the appearance of evil? Just where between doing and appearance evil stops. So, Hightower is telling Byron, people will condemn you because people will think that you are Lina's child's father. Are you getting ready for that? Are you ready to accept that people will talk about you? No? E. Byron says,
Yes.
no. Then, no, I
we
hope.
finished.
We just finished.
Finishing.
I hope not. I reckon well,